and so he grew up. These people say that that major was born into a wealthy family, even though people don't choose where they are born, or that those who are born into a good family should give up money so that you can be on a par with them. People also say that he is talented, and indeed some people are better at something than others. But you have to do it too, and work harder than others. Talented people feel a burden. And the demand isn't much higher, of course, to wipe out all the effort, mental struggle, and refusal to have fun with the easy stuff. Yes, he was lucky to be born this way. It's easier than admitting his weakness. Why not be responsible for yourself? If you look at all the people or characters whose actions make you proud, these are the people who don't care who, how, or why. Here you are, and we all start with random settings. Mavrodet, for example, was a fraudster and became rich, but he also sat down to his business. He knew what he was risking, and he didn't blame people for sitting down. No. He was responsible for his actions. It was all kinds of people who gave him money and tried to get freebies who blamed him for their stupidity. These people had never been on an excursion to Egypt, but they had to pay for the pyramid. Also, a decent fighter does not say after the fight that his stomach hurt, he did not sleep well, because your opponent is not to blame for this, and it is low to humiliate his victory with your problems. People want a beautiful body, but they don't want to work out. The type of video. People write about pumped up people like lightning. Everyone can do chemistry. There is not a single drug that will make you pumped up effortlessly. Everyone works out hard. But of course, it's easier to blame everything on miracle drugs than to accept the fact that you're lazy. People want to be rich, but they are afraid to take risks. They want to work hard and earn a lot, but they don't want to study and spend time for this. In many ways, frivolity manifests itself in things about the process. If you have agreed with a person and don't come to the appointed place and don't even warn them that you won't come, it's at least not nice. If you get an F and start saying that everyone else got an F, you are no longer a serious person. Your words lose their power. Serious people do not do business with frivolous people. In ancient times, young boys underwent initiation rites to become men, meaning that by fighting nature alone, you begin to realize that only you can help yourself. You take responsibility for yourself, harden your body and spirit so that you can become a full-fledged man in the future. After all, if you fail to pass the test, then everything is GG. So, only those people who were responsible for their own lives remained in the tribes and villages, which is what distinguishes an NPC from a human. Neither money, nor fame, success, or other things that supposedly make a person worthy. Respect. Many people are looking for an answer to the question of why someone is respected and someone is pitied, and they miss one truth without even taking it into account. For me, the main thing that distinguishes a strong person from a weak one is responsibility, the ability to take responsibility for oneself. As we know, NPCs do not have freedom, but I choose what I do and when I do it. And as Bernard Shaw said, freedom means responsibility. That's why most people are afraid of freedom. Almost 7 years have passed since I graduated from high school, and I can say with certainty that those people who were not serious then remain so to this day. And, you know, those types who, after the exam, started making excuses that the test was difficult and they were unlucky with the teacher. And that option was, you know, to study or not to study. Everyone's choice is not such that if you get 2, you are bad or stupid. But if you're too lazy to study, try to cheat or even score a grade. And if you score a grade, you just don't accept it. But to manage not to study and not to cheat and to be upset about the grade, and then blame everyone but yourself, already shows that a person is irresponsible. And such people often underestimate the work of someone who got an A, saying that if I had studied, I could have done it too. Or someone who cheated, saying that they were lucky. Words are worthless if there is no proof. Such people always try to humiliate people who try to call a nerd a crammer, saying that he has nothing else to do but study, and thus shifting his laziness onto other people who did not interfere with him in any way. They were just doing their job. If you are poor, you are the only one responsible for it, so stop constantly justifying yourself. You don't need to be a genius to earn money for an apartment, a car, and a good life. And you don't need to be one in a million. The more skills you have, the more choices you have. You can build an engine, a box, etc., become a buyer, or work in a service and earn good money. I learned to program. You can work as a freelancer. If you know how to bake, you can. You can be a pastry chef. And those who have wasted their time and never learned anything go to work that everyone can do. Try it. Make mistakes. No one can forbid you to try, rather than say that something is easy. Do it and get the result if it is easy. But if you do it and don't get the result, don't complain that it is difficult because you yourself have assessed someone's work as easy. Take responsibility for your words. As soon as a person realizes that responsibility is the only thing that makes them not an NPC without a choice, only then they start to live and enjoy. And a person is an INRS. Both are lines of code in a game, but unlike NPCs, a person has the right to choose which game he or she will play. As soon as a person starts to live his or her own life and take responsibility for himself or herself, he or she becomes completely different. Each person has different physical and mental abilities. These are inherited from ancestors, and since we do not control innate skills at the beginning of the journey, we can say that it is random. But random is not only for you. Random is for everyone. No one is to blame for being born rich or poor in a particular country. Labor always tries to shift responsibility to someone else. Any person who lives the way he or she wants to, first of all, has stopped being afraid of failure, of being judged by difficulties. We have noticed that worthy, successful people do not laugh at the mistakes or failures of others because they know that the person is trying. All of them have been in their shoes once. Only those who sincerely rejoice in the failure of others laugh, thus again justifying their cowardice by the failure of another. There are thousands of different jobs and activities. You can be a janitor or a security guard. If a person sincerely loves and enjoys their work, while benefiting people and not blaming others and the world for a small salary and inconvenience, can this person be called an NPC